guys, it's Lord Both here with another video, and a major controversy featuring Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has came and went. Kinda just how I thought it would be, which is why I haven't made a video on it yet. I wanted to see what the actual response and information was going to be. And guess what? It's pretty much explained everything. So here's a little breakdown for you. Essentially, this all started when Pirate Nation picked up on a rumor, yes, a rumor, that Saudi Arabia had planned to ban Kingdom Come Deliverance because it violated their cultural statutes on LGBTQ content. Specifically, that there was an unskippable gay cutscene featured in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. This, as you can expect, led to what I like to call woke panic. Woke panic is essentially when there's any rumor that anything possibly woke about a video game comes out, whether that's the actors that are portraying the characters are leftist activists, or the writers are, I don't know, genderless, queer polymorphs, or the animators have decided to make the female characters be as flat as a pancake in both their breasts and their ass. When any of that happens, and then the media, and I mean the actual media, social media, and YouTubers and all that, people in my kind of space, pick up on it and they decide to scream woke, oftentimes without doing any deep diving investigation. And yes, I understand that we live in a climate where these large companies, especially Hollywood and AAA gaming companies, shouldn't really be given a lot of benefit of doubt. But it also doesn't mean that we can just pick up on the first rumor we hear and run with it when it comes to wokeness and DEI in gaming. But as you can imagine, this led to the whole Endymion and Grum's crowd calling out Warhorse Studios, even though those two guys specifically, to their credit, said maybe we should back off here and take some greater stock of what's actually happening and find out all the information. Specifically Grum's, to his credit. And it's probably because he has personal contact with the actual developer and the director of Warhorse Studios and all that. So credit where credit is due. Meanwhile, you had reactionaries like Yellow Flash being like, I'm out. And then he had to clarify later, he's like, oh, that doesn't mean I'm not going to buy the game. I'm just going to wait until I hear reviews from people I trust. Is like, really? One unskippable gay cutscene is enough for you to be like, well, I'm going to wait till the reviews come out. Come on, man. You can do better than that. And it wasn't long before you had Gamergate guys, like this guy, John Del Aros, so however the fuck you say his name. It wasn't long before people like him were coming out with stuff like this, saying that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a Trojan horse to get gamers to accept wokeness. And he was spamming posts, essentially, about how Kingdom Come 2 promotes LGBTQ agenda and it's gay and it's horrible, blah, blah, blah. But from all the posts I've seen about this guy in this and Gamergate, it seems like this is his thing. This is his grift. I don't know if he's a true Christian soldier. I'm sure even if he was called out on it, that's probably what he'd still hold on to. Because when you call out these kinds of people, I mean, it's basically the Nixon defense, right? Deny, deny, deny. Meanwhile, you had actual real gamers like Mark the Cyborg posting things of actual gaming intelligence, stating, I don't really like wading into the culture war side of gaming, but this context might be important for some stuff or for some people who are confused about the Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 gay stuff. On the left is the lead villain of the first game and likely the second game, Istvan Toph, and there's a picture below. On the right is his lover, Eric, who is captured and used as a bargaining chip in the final main scenario quest, The Siege of Talberg. So anyone claiming the original game was base because it didn't have any gay content in it didn't get to the end of the game. He then goes on to give a big full review of the actual mechanics of the game. You know, the stuff that's actually important and matters to most people. And then he finishes out by saying the sequel might end up removing everything about the game which worked and adding a bunch of cringe current day stuff which doesn't belong in 15th century Bohemia. But until it's out and people have played it, I don't think it's one you should write off because of bad PR decisions or the possibility that there may be elements which don't suit your current day views, be it not approving of gay characters being included or the fact that nearly every NPC greets you with Jesus Christ be praised. And yes, the first Kingdom Come Deliverance story was very accurate to how medieval life and how it just functioned would have been like. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but guess what? Gay people existed in the medieval ages. They just weren't very open about it. And most of them were nobility that could get away with it. There weren't a lot of peasants running around being gay with each other. Most of them couldn't read. So when they were preached to by the church that if you do this, you're going to go to hell, guess what? The vast majority of them believed it. And it was only the nobles who were rich, comfortable, could read, and were for the most part bored that were the ones that actually engaged in that kind of behavior. Then we had another development. Kingdom Come's community board decided to ban any kind of discrimination, whether it was sexism, racism, homophobia, basically put any kind of toxic negativity on lock. And a lot of people were like, oh, this is wokeness. You're censoring free speech. Well, maybe it actually had a little bit to do with this. So we'll get to the actual tweet in a second. But the screenshot here shows Daniel Vavra, the head honcho over at Warhorse Studios. It states, so after the leftists cursing me at Yahtzees for 10 years, now Yahtzees cursing me at Jews because Saudi Arabia might want to ban KCD because of the homosexual scene, with a laughing emoji. And everybody was like, oh, he's calling people Yahtzees, people criticizing him Yahtzees and all that, blah, blah, blah. When in actuality, this was a reply to an account with an actual swastika in the profile pic, and the guy was posting calling Daniel Vavra a Jew. So yeah, in context, it makes a whole lot more sense. And of course, Pirate Nation, what he runs with is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 director Daniel Vavra confirms the gay scene on Facebook. Again, that's great. Truly big J journalism right there. We confirmed a gay scene might happen in a medieval game about medieval nobility where there was gay stuff in the first game. It's like, did you bother to do any looking into this at all? Clearly you didn't play the game, at least till finish. All this led to Daniel Vavra responding in full on Twitter X. This is what he had to say. It's time to address wild claims some people spread that are apparently based just on the screenshot and poorly translated tweet. Spoiler alert contains spoilers about the story of KCD 2. So if you don't want spoilers about the next game, don't listen to this part of this video either. Which, by the way, yes, Daniel Vavra from the Czech Republic, little bit of broken English here if you haven't noticed. He states, 1. There is no unskippable cutscenes in our games. Anybody who claims otherwise never played them. So that's one big claim that's just absolutely busted right there. 2. We are not, nor ever were, banned in any country, at least not that I know of. 3. As much as I don't like forced diversity, nobody was forcing us to do anything, and we are not forcing anyone to do certain things. 4. Gay characters were already in KCD 1. Yes, we've already talked about that in this video, right? 5. KCD is an RPG. You are responsible for your decisions. If you want Henry to try a same-sex adventure, feel free. Which, by the way, this is another thing that seemed to balloon out of nowhere, because this was originally about rumors about a gay cutscene. It had nothing to do with gay romances within the actual video game, and people seem to pull that out of nowhere. But apparently there are gay romance possibilities in the game, because guess what? It's an RPG, and sometimes, yeah, that stuff gets put into the game. It's a role-playing game. If they want to give you the option to be gay, that's fine. As long as you also give me an option to be an asshole to that person. Because of, you know, the balance of morality in the situation. He continues, if you don't want to, you don't have to. All affairs are and were in KCD 1 purely optional. The characters are perfectly aware that it was a forbidden sin. Which, by the way, in the first Kingdom Come Deliverance game, one of the first romance options you have is the only other girl to survive your village being attacked. She's definitely fairly young and unmarried. And guess what? Non-marital sex was looked down on pretty harsh in those times. There's also another romance option where you can choose to romance a lord who helped you, by the way. You can choose to romance his wife and have an affair with his wife. That's adultery. Also, really bad. At least in terms of medieval morality, right? 6. The game takes place in one of the richest cities in Europe, which was besieged by a massive foreign army. That's the reason why the life in such a city is more diverse than the life in villages, which were featured in the first game. 7. Musa came to Bohemia with an invading army as a member of the royal court of King Sigismund, whom he met thanks to his engagement at the court of the Sultan of Bayezid? Bayezid? I've never been good with those Byzantine names. He's an educated noble and Renaissance man from the Kingdom of Mali. Mali, so that's Africa. So there's going to be a black character in this game too. But they explain why that person is there. So it makes, sense. It actually has a story to it. At the same time, Musa is a very unusual figure for the local Bohemian folk, and many of the situations around him in the game stem from this. So they're not just going to be walking around ignoring the fact that he's a black man. So his presence makes sense and creates a lot of interesting situations in the game. The way he talks and behaves has a reason. It's not just for diversity's sake. 9. Everything displayed corresponds to the morals and social norms of 1403 Bohemia and is only there to make an interesting story and not at all to appeal to a, quote, modern audience. And he's specifically referring there to Critical Drinker because I know Daniel Vavra and the guys at Warhorse have mentioned Critical Drinker, who uses that term modern audiences in his videos. And they were talking about how people in the industry are afraid of people like Critical Drinker and his reviews of their games, movies, TV, etc. 10. We don't want KCD to be used as clickbait by people who didn't even play it yet. Some of them sadly turned into exactly the same narrative they pretend to be fighting against. The amount of hateful behavior is really sad and it will damage any cause associated with it. So now he's just directly calling out the people who've already started dunking on Kingdom Come Deliverance. To which, again, there were many. So yeah, there you have it. He explains it all. I also like Endemion's little response here. Yeah, I'm trying to ensure you guys don't get engulfed here. Grums will have info soon that will rectify a lot of this. And you can see my response. He just explained it. What do you mean information from Grums? That's another thing I don't like from these essentially scoopers. Guys like Endemion, Grums, and what have you. They're starting to get a little too big for their britches in terms of thinking of themselves as, actual journalists. And I know a lot of them say, oh, I'm not an actual journalist. I don't think of myself like that. But here they are saying like, oh, we're going to put out a video and information soon that's going to rectify all this. It's like, you don't need to do that. He put a statement out himself on social media. And other people, other big mainstream publications, and even non-mainstream publications, other accounts are going to take off with this, and it's going to end up in the mainstream, in the filter for everybody. You don't need to be like, oh, we're going to put out a video, make sure everything's okay. It's like, who do you think you are, dude? But anyway, hopefully that whole mess is cleared up. It seems like they wanted to give almost a 90s style story where, yes, you did have some diversity. You did have some gay stuff, but it was actually written well and actually had a purpose and meaning and, was woven into the story correctly instead of just being there and everybody pretending that it's okay, like we get with a lot of modern day storytelling. And it also seems like a lot of this was rumors, conjecture, and just a bunch of BS that a lot of people were just running with. Or again, as I like to call it, woke panic. Personally, I wasn't ever really dissuaded by any of this. I knew there was going to be probably a good explanation coming down the pipeline. And guess what? There was. And I probably will still pick up Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. But anyway, those are just my thoughts on all this. If you have your own thoughts, go ahead and leave them in the comments. If you like this video, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, I appreciate you watching all of it. We'll talk to you again later.